Alright guys, well by now you have probably seen Man of Steel. This is going to be kind of a spoiler-filled review of the movie, my opinions on it. First off, we're going to break down the movie. This movie breaks down into two parts. We got the first half of the movie, which is a big origin story, focuses primarily on Krypton and Jor-El and Zod and what led to Kal-El being sent to Earth, and focuses on Clark Kent right before he becomes Superman. You know, what kind of motivates him to become Superman. Very little Smallville thrown into this movie. There is some little flashbacks of Smallville, but most of this origin story takes place on Krypton or right before he becomes Superman. Second half of the movie is all one big long fight scene, okay? It's basically an hour of Kryptonians beating the hell out of each other. There is some dialogue and some plot thrown in, but mostly it's just one big long fight scene. And then we get one little scene at the end, one little clip that basically is, you know, Clark going to work at the Daily Planet. Now, what I liked about this movie, I liked the origin story. For a movie or for an on-screen adaptation of Superman, whether you're talking about TV or movies, I thought it was the most original origin story I've seen. We usually, in every version of Superman outside of the graphic novels and comic books, we get, oh, this is Clark Kent growing up in Smallville. So everybody, even people who don't read comics, know that story. So I thought it was a good move for them to say, hey, let's focus on Krypton. Let's focus on him making the decision and what he's going through when he decides to become Superman. And let's just not really worry too much about Smallville. I thought it was a good decision. I thought it was a very good origin story as far as on screen, you know, something outside of the comic books. I thought it was the best representation of an origin story for Superman. I also really liked Henry Cavill. Thought he did a great job as Superman. Although, like I said, the last half, I would have liked to, you know, the fight scenes were really long. I would have liked to have seen a little more dialogue and plot so we could see him act a little more. But I thought he did a very good job. I liked the little Easter eggs they threw in with LexCorp and Wayne Enterprises and that kind of thing. And I liked the fight scenes. The fight scenes were way too long, without a doubt. They should have been cut down to about a third of what they were, so we got more character development and plot. But the way they were choreographed, the way they were put together, you really felt the speed and power of these almost godlike beings beating the hell out of each other. You know, it felt like what you would think, and it looked like what you would think a fight between these characters would look like. So I really did like the fight scenes. They were just way, way too long. Now, a couple of small dislikes. First, that Lois finds out who Clark Kent is like almost immediately. She knows he's Superman. That annoyed me. I know they've done this in movies before. You know, like Iron Man, for instance. At the end of Iron Man, he comes out and says, "I am Iron Man," which we know in the comic books. You know, he pretended for years and years and years that Iron Man was his bodyguard. Unless you read the Ultimate version of Iron Man. So, you know, they changed that. They changed this. It was annoying to me. I would have preferred a more traditional approach to the character and, you know, him actually working at the Daily Planet before she finds out. But it didn't ruin the movie for me. The other thing I did not like at all was that they changed Jimmy Olsen's character to Jenny Olsen. And they basically stripped away everything that was good about the character of Jimmy Olsen. There was no valid reason to change that character into a woman. They took away the fact that you know, that character is a photographer. They basically made that character an intern. I mean, they didn't even give any character development to the character. There was really nothing that you wouldn't have even known this was supposed to be the replacement for Jimmy Olsen, except for the fact that at one point Perry White yells Olsen at her. And you go, oh wait, yeah, her first name's Jenny. Oh, I guess this is the replacement for Jimmy Olsen. It's stupid. You know, you basically lose this whole Jimmy Olsen pal of Superman aspect. You lose the photographer aspect of it. I mean, they destroyed that character. I don't like that at all. My biggest dislike is Amy Adams as Lois Lane. She is not at all Lois Lane. Lois Lane is a badass, okay? She's this very smart, intuitive reporter who gets what she wants. She's hot. I mean, she's supposed to be like supermodel hot. These are all things that Amy Adams is not. Amy Adams basically came off as a whiny version of Lois Lane. I didn't like it at all. If they ever do a sequel or another movie involving Lois Lane, I hope they find a way to replace her, because it was just bad. Now, at the end of the movie, Superman kills Zod. Now, a lot of people are very pissed off about this because it is very much against the character of Superman. But Superman has killed twice that I know of in the comics. And they set this up if they were going to do it. I wish they would have found a different way to do it. But if they were going to do it, I'm glad they did it in the way they did, because they really made it a numbers game for Superman, kind of a moral dilemma. They basically had Zod go, I'm going to keep killing every human I can. I'm going to kill everything you love because you're too big of a pussy to stop me. I mean, essentially that's what Zod was telling Superman. And Superman knew, hey, look, I can continue fighting this guy like I've done for the last hour of this movie, or I can just end it now because he's going to keep I can't stop him unless I kill him. And he made that ultimate decision, and you can instantly see his remorse and how bad it hurt him to make that decision, because essentially Zod's about to kill some humans with his heat vision, and Superman has to snap his neck to stop him. It is something that is very much against the character, with very few exceptions in the comic books, but I think it was done in a way that was respectful to the character of Superman and to his morals. So that didn't bother me. All in all, I thought this was a good Superman movie. It was not a great movie. And it was not the best representation of Superman. I mean, the comic books and graphic novels are far superior, but we have to understand this movie was geared towards an audience that is about 65 to 70% people who do not read comic books. And if they ever had, it was so long ago they don't remember them, and they might not have ever even read Superman in the first place. So we have to give it some leeway, because this may be the franchise we're given. This may be what we have to deal with for a while. So I know a lot of comic book fans don't like this movie, and there are a lot of annoying things in it for a true comic book fan, and I get that, but we may be stuck with this franchise for a while. We may be stuck with these characters, so let's encourage these people to do the next one even better instead of panning this one. Let's encourage them, because we may get a Justice League movie out of this. We may get a Superman 2. We may get a Flash movie, a Wonder Woman movie, maybe a new Batman. I don't know. And it may all start from this. So let's encourage these filmmakers to just do a little bit better next time instead of making them feel like shit for this one, because it was still a good, solid movie, and it was still worth watching. And I'm going to buy it when it comes out on Blu-ray, because I don't think it was horrible like some people did. It is not the greatest movie or even the greatest comic book movie of all times. There are far superior comic movies out there, but this was still a good, solid movie. It's better than Green Lantern, it's better than Spider-Man 3, it's better than Catwoman, it's better than Daredevil or Elektra or Hulk, or the list goes on and on and on. It was still a good movie, and I recommend you give it a chance. So anyway, that's it, guys. Appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you later.